All right, everyone. The other day we got news that Virginia Giuffre, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I'm not 100% sure. Link in the description, archived, of course, killed herself, actually. I believe that as much as I believe that Santa Claus is currently swimming around in Caribbean waters enjoying a nice vacation before he has to go and make more toys. It seems that an awful lot of people associated with Epstein, including Epstein himself, killing themselves. Happens all the time. And the fact is, she probably did not commit suicide. She was probably assassinated. We can probably guess who particularly is involved with that, by the way. It's interesting, all of these things happening in a short period of time. Let's see. Trump gets reelected. He starts reshuffling the DA's office and the AG's office and the DOJ in general and all of these other things. And he's got an axe to grind, by the way, with many of the rich and powerful. And we've got threats by Bondi and many others to release more information on the Epstein client list and things like that. By the way, you're not going to ever see the actual client list. It's a threat for a reason. All of a sudden, one of the main accusers, who we know was actually at Rape Island, kills herself inexplicably after being inexplicably hit in a car wreck. Very, very interesting. The timing is very, very coincidental. I don't really believe in coincidences when it comes to this sort of thing. Because Occam's razor mode, we know that the rich and powerful engage in assassinations and cover-ups and things like that. I mean, we've known this all along. It's been a thing for all of, modern human history. So, do I believe the official story here? No, I do not. It appears that the family does, but the thing is, you've got a strong ability by the rich and powerful to cover up your tracks and make it look like a suicide. Marilyn Monroe, something that's rarely mentioned. Everyone talks about JFK and RFK, but nobody wants to talk about poor Marilyn, who fucked both of them and probably knew state secrets, and was not known, by the way, to be using the drugs that she was supposedly killed by. I have a feeling that somebody enjoyed her corpse before leaving the scene, by the way. Again, more and more cover-ups. It happens all the time. Now, suicide my ass. She was murdered. Um, Almost certainly. I understand that you could become despondent and depressed. You've been raped repeatedly and trafficked and so forth, and a lot of people don't believe you, and you're called a conspiracy theorist, and nobody's taking you seriously enough to actually do a thorough investigation. I can understand you'd be depressed, but at the same time, when you're a fighter like her, I don't think that you resort to suicide. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. She never expressed any suicidal ideations or anything like that. Never said, well, I'm so depressed, I'm so sad, and stuff like that. No, it was more like she wanted to go forth before the public and say, look, this is what happened to me. I'm speaking truth to power, would say a liberal. And so, I'm going before the media and the public in general and trying to tell people what happened. And by the way, Prince Andrew screwed me when I was underage and stuff like that. We know what was going on at Little St. James. It was so obtuse that at that point there was a considerable investigation even by the powers that be. And Epstein, by the way, didn't kill himself either. It's the physical situation that existed it's impossible that all of those coincidences lined up. The chances are like 1 in a trillion, as opposed to the 999 billion chance that he did not kill himself and that everything was covered up. That's probably why the cameras were down at the time. This is an oddity. Most people have noticed this. I'm noticing oddities here as well. Again, a person who shows no particular proclivity towards depressive behavior all of a sudden just offs herself. And it just happens to, again, coincidentally, be right around the same time that the legal system that's investigating, or should be investigating rather, the entire situation is being completely reshuffled. Just right around the nick of time for all of the people that went to that island now, isn't it? Because now she's dead. She can't give any official testimony anymore now, can she? Well, just a coincidence. Happens all the time. Yeah, people who have a reason to live, and to fight, kill themselves constantly, especially when, again, they have dirt on people who are rich and famous and powerful. Again, this is a regular occurrence. You may have noticed this. I've become a noticer on multiple levels. Now, Virginia did not kill herself, in my opinion. She was killed, in my opinion, and it was made to look like a suicide. I do not currently know the methodology of death. Probably overdose or something like. It's probably another Marilyn Monroe situation. I bet it'll be like Scalia who had a pillow over his head when he supposedly, do you remember that when he supposedly was just died in his sleep? I have a feeling that that was probably conspiratorial too. The rich and powerful engage in these kinds of behaviors to maintain their wealth and their power. It happens all the time. Now, if you say that some regular layperson has concocted some cockamamie plan to off somebody else to gain money, maintain a property, something like that, nobody considers that a conspiracy. Why is it that we only label it a conspiracy when the rich and powerful are involved? Have you ever stopped to think about that? It's very, very interesting. The legacy media repeatedly reporting on, like Epstein, for example, well, he killed himself. And by the way, don't you question that official narrative. And the handful of outlets that, will actually be honest and say, well, we've got questions here because there are like 20,000 of them to actually ask, including probably about 20,000 fucking clients at Little St. James, among others, and Epstein's rape ranch and other properties and stuff like that. All of a sudden, most people will clam up. They don't want to think about it. It's because the conspiracy is so monumentally large. It's sort of like you tell a lie, make it big, because then more people will believe it. The bigger the lie, the more that people will, because they can't even comprehend it. They can't comprehend the situation. They get cognitive dissonance and say, well, this is a little bit out of our hands, so, I'm not going to bother questioning this. Or they grow to expect it, sort of like we have grown to expect politicians to be corrupt instead of holding them to account for their corrupt actions because it's easier. It's just people don't have the time to even think about these things. They're too busy looking at cats on the internet at this point anyway. No, I don't think that this was a suicide. I think that this was a homicide. But because the powers that be are capable of hiding their tracks very easily, because they control the legal system and the investigative system, generally speaking, I wouldn't expect any closure on this any more than with Epstein's so-called suicide. That's about all. Peace out.